big time, and don't make me have to remind ya. I got my cup up to the heavens. Another night I won't remember. I promise this my move forever. Promise this my move forever, ever. Presence dancing on the bezel. This kind of feeling unforgettable. Promise this my move forever. Promise this my move forever.
Thank you for tuning in to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. You're listening to Pleasure Moody Joy, and I am your host, Faye Goddess. You can follow me at my new Instagram channel, which is Pleasure Moody Joy, or my personal page, Faye Pleasures. We will normally be talking about topics surrounding spirituality, astrology, pop culture, holistic views of healthcare and wellness, life insights, and funny story times. Our show sponsors are Arrangements by Chris, which does event planning, childcare, business consulting, and personal assistant work. And the Pleasure Moody Joy brand, which is sex and relationship coaching, guided journals coming soon, and radio/internet personality. If you want to get in touch with either of these businesses, please text 336-303-8877 with your name, what you're looking for, and 3 times and days you are available for a consultation or appointment. Again, the number is 336-303-8877. So, the format of this show is the first segment. We will talk about a topic through the lens of my sex and relationship coaching business interests, which is non-monogamy, BDSM, and or a queer lens. Segment 2 is how is the topic pleasurable? What is the mood? And does it bring joy? Segment 3 are some takeaways, affirmations, or just advice around today's topic, or adjacent, parallel, similar to something that can help you along your day or throughout your life. So let's get into the show. So today we're going to be talking about switchiness, because that's what I said I was going to talk about last week. But I have to make this a 2-parter now, because something happened to me today that I feel like I need to share with people. So I'm going to relate it to that topic, but I'm going to go more into that topic the way I originally thought next week. So that will be part of the part 2. But for part 1, because this has to just completely cut in front of the first one, is how the mental can affect the physical and the switchiness in that. So what am I talking about? What am I saying? So I was thinking about how our brains, we talk about like left brain, right brain. And so your left brain can be very logical and is what the names of things are. And your right brain is like the meaning of what those things are. And sometimes more illogical, right? And so as humans, having that balance between those two things helps us survive. That's why we still have it, because we're animals. And as animals, we're going to continue to keep the things that help us survive, and we'll eventually phase out, weed out, get rid of the traits that no longer helps us survive. So why would we need to have a balance between logic and not logic, right? And so what I love about spirituality is I think about how sometimes there are things that you just can't deal with on your own, right? You need somebody else. And so there's a twofold that happens in spirituality that I've noticed, which is the one which is part of the community. So if you're going through something, you can talk to someone in a group that believes similar beliefs as you. And a lot of times, if you have similar belief systems, that might make a religion or a certain type of spiritual group. And then you can have like different topics that you can talk about and philosophize about, or just agree about, or happily agree to disagree about. And so then there's the part that is more internal. So I remember I told a friend of mine, I was like, what I really liked about getting back into certain, like Ifa religion, which is part of the Yoruba people in Nigeria. And for my ancestry test, I'm mostly Nigerian. So what's up? I am 93% African, and over 40 or 50% of that is Nigerian. And then the rest is other Western African countries, basically. So it's like I got a little Benin Toga. I got a little the Bantu and Congo people. That was my second highest one, I think. And I also have like in the Cameroon people, so like that area, so like Central and West Africa, which makes sense if I'm African American, because that's a lot of the people who were brought over here, right? So yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm like looking at Ifa, and I noticed that I really like the creation stories around Orishas and things of that nature. And so I noticed that when I have an altar, I would like do certain things with like incense and like what I say to the ancestors. And I usually try to come up with a different way of saying the same thing. So like one day I'll say like, if it wasn't for you, I would not be. Another day or a different Sunday, I might say, because you were, I am. And so it's something basically to just say, pay homage to the ancestors, and say, basically like, if it wasn't for my ancestors, I wouldn't be here today. So I try to like come up with a different way of saying it each time, just to make it interesting. And light my incense or my candle, maybe put some prayers out there for my ancestors, and then say, hey, ancestors, activate the DNA inside of me that I need to get something done. Because maybe I can't do it, but y'all was strong enough to do it, right? So that's some like calling on your ancestors. Like, I'm going to need y'all spirits to come in the room and activate my DNA. I'm going to need you to activate this DNA because I need to do some things. And y'all went through way harder things than me. So I know I can do this because I couldn't have done what y'all did. But the fact that y'all did it is why I'm here today. So when I think of like that, then I'm able to say thank you and give gratitude to people who are not in the room. I'm able to talk to higher beings, higher selves, higher consciousness that I don't know if are in the room or not. And so giving libations, giving treats, giving candy or food that your ancestors might like. I really like doing that because then it's like, if you really want to give someone a gift and you don't have anyone personally you can touch just now, you can give your ancestors this gift, right? If you need to have a personal conversation that you can't have with someone else, you can talk to an ancestor and say, hey, I'm going through some deep stuff and I really need some help right now. Can someone give me a holler? Give me an insight, give me a ringing in the ear so I can think some cool stuff, So you can through spirituality, you can either give yourself the thing you need by talking to your ancestors. Because instead of thinking you're talking to yourself, you can be like, no, I'm talking to my ancestors. Some people have religions where they're talking to God. They have a personal relationship with their God or their goddess or all of them. Depends on if you're polytheistic or monotheistic or non-theistic. You're like, there's no gods or goddesses. I'm just talking to myself and I'm perfectly fine with that. Either way, then you're talking to the internal spirit of the human condition, right? So even the atheists, you can just be like, I'm just using the spirit of humans, of like how awesome we are, okay? That we're at the top of the food chain for a reason. Not because we're better, not because we're stronger, because we make great tools and we know how to collaborate and cooperate with people. And sometimes we even have healthy competition, so we can leave it on the dance floor, so we can leave it on the arena and go on and have less aggressive everyday lives. And so what I love about BDSM is I just think that's another arena. Some people box. Some people play football. Some people play video games. Some people have debates, political debates. There are all kinds of ways people get out their aggression. They get out conflict. They get out wanting to one-up each other, wanting to be better than someone else, wanting to shoot what they need to say from the rooftops, be on their soapbox, whatever. That's just an arena. You do that and you leave it there. And then you keep stepping because it's a part of you, but you don't need to do it all the time. But you got to get it out. So radio right now is one of the ways I'm getting out my message, or getting that part of me that just wants to talk to myself. And then it's like, hey, if y'all like it too, what's up? So, but I noticed with BDSM, it's another arena to get aggression out or receive aggression, right? Because I remember one time I knew someone who was a sub and was like, she was like, I don't know if this is weird. I feel like it's really weird. And I never really wanted to tell anyone this, but like, I sometimes want like my family members to like hit me. Like I want them to like punch me in the face and like get into a fight with me and then like get over all the issues that we have or something. Like she was talking about like Thanksgiving or something. And it was like, when people be fighting about stuff, she's like, man, just like punch me instead of like saying something mean to me. And I was like, that's really random. But she was just like, it made her realize like sometimes in relationships, she doesn't want people to have to like say all these things. It's like, just do the action. And a lot of times people might say this is barbaric, or that's how, that's like unhealthy or something. She channeled it into something healthy, right? Somewhere where there's guidelines, somewhere where there's rules, there's negotiations, there's a way, there's a culture that makes it where it's safer. And so she can have a dom and that person could be loving towards her / also hit her. See, there it works out, right? And it's consent, right? If your family member doesn't want to punch you, but you want to say something so mean to them where they want to punch you, they did not consent in you being aggressive to them in order to push them to hit you. They did not. If someone wants someone to hit them and they go to a bar and get drunk and cuss people out so they can get into a fight, those people didn't consent to you messing up their Friday night because you mad. Okay? They didn't consent to that. But you know what you could do that's a little healthier? Find someone who will consent to doing that, to hitting you, or even having that situation in a way that is more laid out. So I love that as humans, we even understand that we have these different types of traits, these things, these urges, and there's ways to express them in a healthy way. But instead of saying, no, don't do that, don't feel that way, no. Why are we ostracizing? Why are we blaming? Also, we're all different. Everybody's a special snowflake. And guess what? Someone's diamonds is going to match someone else's diamonds and they're going to connect. But someone else is going to have ridges and someone else is going to have, like smooth edges, and they're not going to really chill. But if they both have diamonds, they can converse over the diamonds, but they're going to disagree when it comes to their edges, right? Okay. So that's okay. And this thing we can talk about, but this other thing, no, we differ. And that's okay. because we're all different. Life would be boring if we were all the same, as my mother says. And my mother's an Aquarius. We're an age of Aquarius. Get with it. We need people to be different. It's like in science. You have elements. You have a rule, right? But there's exceptions to the rules. There's isotopes and, naturally occurring elements that have a tweak to them. Something might be missing some electrons or missing some neutrons or something. You know what I mean? Like, or have extra ones, but it's still that same element. That's the same thing with people. If you look at science, it's not just male and female. We have intersex people. You have androgenized females. You have androgenized males. And then you have people with like ambiguous like genitalia. We have all these different types of people, right? And I think some of those people are going by a different phrasing now. I would have to like look into that again. But yeah, we have all these different, and they're natural. These people are they were born. There's nothing weird. There was no something else happened. They just naturally occur, right? So just like how elements naturally occur with different variations, humans occur with different variations. Some are going to be queer. Some are going to be trans. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how we naturally are. And so what I love about when people talk about the supernatural, it's like, if you think of the words, it's just like, you're almost like saying really, really natural. It's supernatural. So natural, it's like super. Right? And so it's like, I just feel like, in a different way of saying that, it's just really, really natural to have different types of things. And so when I think of switchiness in that way, then I'm like, yeah, we have ways where we might be one way in certain arenas and might be another way in another arena. And so why do we do that? Because it helps balance us out. It helps us be at a different type of homeostasis. And so the same thing with relationships. Sometimes with non-monogamy, you can have it where there's so many different types of non-monogamy and how people want to relate to each other and how people want to build their families. We've always had families that were blended or, what people call non-traditional, but they're not actually non-traditional. They actually are very traditional because people have always had these relationships. They've always had these relationship dynamics. The society you were in depended on who said, well, we're going to pick this particular thing, right? So I just feel like there's a correlation between how all of our spirituality and things like that help us mentally and physically. Because me giving libations to my ancestors, me being thankful, cultivates, yes, thankfulness, but it also helps people's blood pressures. Sometimes it helps with people's moods. It actually helps bring joy. Being thankful helps you have joy for things that are not actually always in front of you. So as people, I think it's really important that like we always are making mistakes, and even our body can make mistakes. If you're stressed out and your body is sitting here having your cells go from DNA to RNA back to DNA, it might make some mistakes. When it's creating new cells, it might make some mistakes. This is how people can get tumors. This is how people can get, like cancer and things of this nature. Now, sometimes it just sporadically happens and it's super sad and had nothing to do with stress. It was just whatever. But what we can control is for the people where it was stress. Let's not stress them out. And so sometimes you need to give gifts to your actual community. Share your gifts with people. And sometimes you need to share gifts with yourself. Buy yourself something, do something. And sometimes you need to give gifts to something you can't see, like your ancestors, your spirituality. You might need to have a conversation with something outside of yourself that isn't another human being. versus things that you need to tell another human being. That's why Christianity used to have confession. Sometimes you literally just couldn't hold a secret. You had to tell somebody, but you didn't want to get people in trouble, or you didn't want to get yourself in trouble. So you were like, look, I got to tell somebody because this is weighing on me. Okay, and I won't be able. And so what would they tell you to do? Forgive yourself, right? Give yourself some Hail Marys and forgive yourself. The Buddhists tell you that karma is what you make it. If you think it's karma that you did something to someone and then later it happened to you, that's only because you think that. If you forgot that that past thing happened to you, you wouldn't have made that correlation. You wouldn't think it's karma. You only think it's karma when you make the correlation. So if you think, well, I deserve that because I used to be, not so great. Well, yeah, when we were younger, we make a lot of mistakes and we do a lot of messed up things to people. So actually, everyone could say that. Is everyone going to carry the same karma? No. So technically, but you thinking you have that karma might be weighing hard on your body because it's stressing you out. That's why forgiving yourself is usually one of the biggest things. That's why that Hapo Ono phrase of, I love you, please forgive me, I love you, thank you, is so powerful for your mental health. Saying that every day, saying it to yourself. If you get into issues with other people, saying it to them. Sometimes I've even tried to, in conversations, extend it out. I'll talk to a person, I'll tell them things I love about them, things I'm thankful for them about, things that I would love them to forgive me for, and things like that. So it's actually drowned out, and that helps me have closure with that person. I no longer am like, oh my gosh, I've messed up with them, or I miss them, or da 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 da. It'll be like, what are all the things? And they usually would fall into those 4 categories. And so it's like, yeah, those are the things that linger. And so how do we deal with those things that linger? Because if we don't deal with those things that linger, they can manifest physically and not for our best health. So on that note, I want to go to commercial because I went too long on this segment yet again. So I'm going to have to make the other one shorter. Okay? Just letting you know. So you've been listening to Pleasure Moody Joy, and I am your host, Faye Goddess. You're tuning into WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. We'll be right back after this break.
Black is like the magic's like a spell. My brothers went to heaven, the police going to, yeah, they're going to. Hello, operator, emergency hotline. If I say that I can't breathe, will I become a chalk? Line up to see the movie, line up to see the act. The officers are scheming to cover up their Ask me no more questions, tell me no more lies. You're serving and protecting is stealing babies' lives. I'm very black, black, black. Can't send me back, back, back. You take my brother, brother, brother. I fight back, back, back. I'm very black, black, black. I'm made of black, black, black. You take my brother, brother, brother. I fight back, back, back.
Everything is everything. A mantra says a guillotine. A missionary commission misery into angel wings. And all he wanna do is be still and cut bread. Never know the dead how they whisper, forgive me. Everything is relative. Politicize the evidence. I heard a politician reiterate all the messages. And all he wanna do is feed family, be famous. Never know the poor how they scream out, redeem me. Everything is casualty. A song I heard the Bullets sing. I know a couple babies gon' see him fly tonight. He wish he wasn't magic. All he wanna do is be a passage in the book titled America the Savage. Symphony and symphony, when everything was meant to be. Piano man and drummer boy just invented the song for me. And all I wanna do is find love and be happy. And all I wanna do is find love.
I'm very black, I'm very black. Can't send me back, can't send me back. You take my brother, you take my brother. I fight
Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live through free TuneIn radio app and through the iHeartRadio app. You're listening to Pleasure Moody Joy, and I am your host, Fake Goddess. If you are just tuning in, we are discussing Switchyness Part 1. How does the mental manifest the physical? I also went into some spirituality things I feel about that, and how it's just really nice to be able to give yourself a certain amount of love, give other people love, but then also give love to something outside of yourself that isn't necessarily a person, but it can be your ancestors, your spirituality, whatever you love. And put lots of energy into that is something greater than yourself. So the reason why I was like, oh, I need to switch up what I'm talking about this week is because, y'all, I went to get an ultrasound because my left ovary has been like sometimes angry at me for the last couple of years. And so I was just like, telling my doctor, I was like, I don't know if this is intestinal, like if it's my intestines, or if it's an ovary. And I really, now that I'm getting older, I'm worrying about it because I've had friends who've had fibroids or ovarian cysts. So I'm like, I'm worried, like, is this an ovarian cyst? Does it sometimes rupture and like, which makes it where I have this pain? Like, what's going on? And so they don't know yet. I'm going to find out. So y'all will be updated because obviously if I'm talking about it now, I'll bring it up again. So I went, y'all. And I found out that, when you see a image of a uterus and like fallopian tubes in the ovaries, that is not the image of how most female-bodied people are. And I did not know that. I did not know that your ovary could be anywhere, y'all. Because the lady there was like, look, sometimes people's ovaries be further away from their uterus. They be like way off somewhere. I was like, wait, what? She was like, yes. We don't be knowing. Like, that's why we have to search for it. Everyone's body is different. So you have everyone has the same parts, but how they arrange in your body be different. And I was like, what? I did not know that. And she was like, yeah, sometimes you can have your ovaries really close to your uterus, or they can be really far away. Sometimes some are further up, some are low, some are centered. So that picture you see is if they're fairly away from your body, but centered. So my left ovary looks like the diagram, right? It's a little way from the uterus, and it's centered. But my right ovary is high and it's behind my uterus. I said, wait, hold up. What? It's ducking and weaving, y'all. It's ducking. It's like, hey, peekaboo. She was like, yeah, it's like slightly to the right and it's at the top and it's behind your uterus. And so I was like, I never have any pain on my right ovary. And then later I was like, yeah, because it's protected by the uterus. It's like, uterus, fight my battles. Anyways, it's like I'm hiding. It's slightly to the right, so it's like peeking behind the uterus, like, hey. I was like, what? And I'm compact, like I'm 5 foot even. So at first I was like, I'm a small person. I probably have like a small pelvis or something. Like that other ovary had to get tucked in because I'm such a small person. I was like, oh goodness, what is going on? But then later I was like, she didn't say if you're fat or you're tall or something, your ovaries do different things. She was just saying, it depends on the person. It's random. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it might not be because of my size, but still, I was like, that's real random. I did not know that about the ovaries, but I have the pain on my left side. And so I was thinking about how sometimes in sex, sometimes it's like, okay, you're going forward. Please don't veer. Don't go to the side. Stay straight when you're going in. Like, but if someone would poke like my, I guess, what do you call it? Like vaginal wall that was towards that left one, it would really hurt. And now I'm like, cause they were hitting my ovary and I'm like, oh my gosh, what? But if the other way, it didn't hurt as much. And it's like, cause the other ovary is protected by the uterus. I am done. I am so done. Like my right ovary is like, I'm living my best life. I'm on the high ground. I'm protected by the uterus. You can't come get me. The left one is like, I'm just out here chilling in space. So I was like, okay, I bet you that's like a longer fallopian tube or something versus the other one has to wrap around. Like, and it's not even a real tube. It's literally just space. Like, what? It's just space. Tube is just the idea they tell us so we can understand the trajectory of where the eggs drop. Life-changing news. Okay. So I was thinking, oh my gosh, how many women maybe have like low ovaries and might say that there's like discomfort or pain during sex and don't even know it because you don't know where your ovaries are. What? Like what? What? Anyways, but then another part of me was like, oh wait, why is my personality like my ovaries? Like my right brain, left brain correlates with my ovaries. One is sitting on the taking the high road, but being protected, kind of shy, peeks out like, hey y'all, oh my gosh, I don't want to talk too much, but like, hey, hi, how are you? I'm a little shy. I'm just gonna peek out. And then the other side of me is just like, I'm out here, pretty average, just chilling. I just feel like the two sides of the personality. Like, hey, how y'all doing? Or like, I'm hiding, I'm ducking. But I'm on the high road and I ain't gonna talk nothing about you. I ain't gonna say nothing bad about you. I'm just trying to stay protected out here in these streets. So so I just really was like, why does my ovaries correlate with my personality? Is this like the chicken or the egg? How does the mental and the physical really like go with each other? Real questions, real talk. I don't know, but I am now wanting to know. I want to talk to people about it. I want to get doctors involved. I'm like, what is up? So as I work on getting my sex therapy license and stuff, I'm gonna be all into that. I'm gonna be asking some real questions out here for the people so I can help other people, because that is what I was put on this earth to do. Help y'all with these sexual things, because we don't talk about it, and sex ed is atrocious. That's what I said, atrocious. It's ugly and it's disturbing how bad sex ed is. I'm so proud of the company Everyone Deserves Sex Ed. I was actually wanting to do some training with them soon because they look like they out here doing that new initiative, and I really am like, yes, please be out here. Like, we need to do this. So that's why for this part, what is it pleasurable? Well, I would say it's going to help me in the future with pleasure, because I'm going to be like, oh, that's what that was? They were hitting the ovary. Anyway, I'm just, oh girl, oh, people, dude, persons, everyone. Lord, my whole life has changed. My whole life has changed. I won't be like, that was not the vaginal wall. You hit an ovary. Oh my gosh. But then also, what's the mood? I'm just really grateful for knowing this information and being able to help people soon. And that, like, wow, we really need to talk about these things more, because how are we out here walking around not knowing this information as people? It's just so much information to know. So I guess that's why people can only learn so much, and they're only interested in so much. So whatever. But dang, what? These ovaries, they just could be anywhere almost. Then and then I was like, okay, so how does it bring me joy? Well, what brings me joy is that as humans, spiritually, I do think that the reason why I used to love like Christian scientists, or like religious scientists, I should say, is because they had the idea of like, whoever you believe in, source, the universe, God, goddess, whatever, that entity or entities put these fun little puzzles on the earth for us to figure out, because it understands that we are like it. And it is a mad scientist that was talking to itself a lot, and then decided to create some stuff in a laboratory and get all these cool different solar systems and universes and planetary bodies, and then animals and insects and single-celled organisms. And then we get to study that stuff. So it's like it was creating and studying, and we like to create and study stuff, and we love these little puzzles, right? It's not just murder mysteries. We still trying to figure out, how does gravity work? We still trying to figure it out, y'all. Like, because that's an interesting, juicy mystery for us to like sink our teeth in. So like, yeah, that's why I was put here, because I knew we would be inquisitive and curious. So we gotta like have stuff to be curious about. So I'm just happy I found another thing to be curious about. I'm like, okay, tell me more. I'm about to be up on this. So relating that back to, so that's why I was like, this relates to switchiness, because I was like, oh, is the switchiness left brain, right brain? If you're female body, these ovaries, come on, what? Okay, there's so many reasons for why we have these balances of energies. So I love, yin and yang, or also known as yin and yang, and like that idea of like, you need that balance of the light and the dark, right? The light is what is known, the dark is what is not known. And so you need that balance of that goddess energy and that God energy, right? To make things happen different. Because if it was just goddess and goddess, we'll just continue to have the same of everything. But the moment that the goddess figured out, oh, I want to do something different, and I'm always making the same thing over and over and over and over, which is just more me. I'm just making fun little more me. But can I make something different for myself? And it was like, she created the masculine. She created God. It was like how I used to see things. And so the idea that like the goddess is never created nor destroyed, but she created God so he could live and die and be reborn over and over and over. And that is how she keeps time. She's like, well, I know if he's died a certain amount of times, it means a certain amount of time has passed. So, but then you come back resurrected. That's why I was like, the Catholics were onto something when they talked about Mary and the Immaculate Conception. That's how I feel about how the universe worked. We had a goddess, and then one day she created God. And it's like, kind of like how Mary created Jesus out of nowhere. You know what I mean? It was just like, I don't know, and she didn't have sex or nothing. It just happened. Right? So I used to be like, that makes more sense to me. That almost makes, but I'm not a Catholic, right? Like, I don't really, I like to say, just believe in something. I don't care what you believe in, just believe in something. So I don't like to, pick a side. That way no one feels better or worse for, how I talk about things. It's like, no, I didn't pick anybody. I just love you all. I love all the religions. You're all great. So because of that, everyone has a thing. And I feel like that was the one for me that I was like, y'all was onto something right there. Y'all was onto something right there, because that makes sense to me. But that's how I see it. So you don't have to agree with me on that, but it would make a lot of sense to even just like how our brains work, how our bodies work, that switchiness, that like balancing out of things. How can the mental affect the physical? Anyways, so we will go ahead and go to a commercial because it seems about that time. And you are tuned into WDRB Media, the voice of the community, the only station giving you double the information and inspiration. Don't go anywhere because we'll be right back. Welcome back to WDRB Media, the voice of the community, and those streaming live free through the TuneIn Radio app or through the iHeartRadio app. You're listening to Pleasure Moody Joy, and I'm your host, Fake Goddess, and we're just talking about all kinds of fun things. So for this last part, I just want to say, if you've been listening this whole time, thank you for staying the whole time. I'm proud of you. Confetti for you. And so I want to wrap this up on some takeaways. And I really would like, if you are into journaling or something like that, use this time to think about, how does your mind basically relate to your body? Do you notice that if you're really stressed out, that you move around a lot? Or are you kind of person who stays still? Reasoning, if you stay still a lot, sometimes clenching so much actually puts a lot of strain on your muscles. So you might think, I'm just sitting here. But is your left or right shoulder higher than the other one? Because that means you're tensing it. Notice when you sit, do you clench your jaw? Or is it relaxed? Do you sit in a way where your feet are comfortable? Or are they pushing against something? Are they arched? Are they flat-footed? Do you notice any issues like in your body at all from when you have stress? This would be a good time to think about those types of things. Also, affirmations that are really great. Since I brought up earlier about the ancestors and stuff like that, you obviously don't have to be a part of like the Ifa religion. I was just highlighting, I like the way that they do those things. So I really like doing that for my altar. But I've known people of multiple different religions that use altars. And I've also noticed, like, since this is like a faith-based radio platform, I've noticed certain Christians that will use certain things from the Bible, right? Like frankincense, frankincense and myrrh. That's like a incense I like to get a lot, because in the Bible, they would talk about like using that for cleansing purposes. And there are a lot of things that were in the Bible that were just things that helped people at that time live their everyday life. So, okay, if there's some smells or something, or there's a bad energy, light these type of incense. If you need to help or you're sick, use these types of herbs. There's parts in there that talk about using lavender for certain things and using certain herbs for different things. So there's a lot of like earth-based things in the Bible, if you ever like check it out. And I've known some people who kind of dabble with like blending certain things. Sometimes they're seen as like a little witchy, but they're basically are able to take certain things from those passages and say, you can still use these things in your everyday life. Also, when you're honoring ancestors, you also can honor past selves. So if you know that in your life you've gone through different changes, you've gone through a phase. You know how when you're a teenager and they say, oh, you're just going through a phase, right? When have you gone through certain phases or had certain seasons in your life, right? Where you've been a different person, or you've been similar to yourself, but very different from who you are now. How you made those changes, why you made those changes. Was it traumatic, or because you just felt like it, or because you just wanted to improve yourself? These kind of things help, think about those types of things. If you're into journaling, like I said, these would be like great journaling prompts for like automatic writing. And then also, if you don't have a gratitude log, please get one. It's super great. It's so healthy. Like, I don't understand. Like, it's really helped me through some hard times. Like, to just like have a gratitude log for a few weeks. You don't have to do it for a long time. You can just do it for like a week, a couple days, or just like a month. But you'll just notice how it'll help add a little joy to your life, because especially when you have to differentiate each day. So never say you're grateful for the same thing every day. Or maybe have it where the first 5 things can be repeats, but maybe the next 5 things aren't repeats. And so then you have to get more creative about what you're thankful for. So you might have one day where you're just thankful for your friends and your family, and you might put specific things. One day you might be very general about it and just say, like, I'm just grateful for life and breathing, and I'm grateful for running water, and I'm grateful for toilets that work. And it could be creature comforts. You can have another day where you're just grateful for human, like the heights of the human imagination, or our medical marvels, or how great the brain is, or how cool the body adapts to things. So skills you've learned, you're grateful for learning how to play an instrument. You're grateful for learning the skills of communication. You're grateful for learning some medical thing, or learning some business thing. Like if you did your taxes, or you hired someone to do it, you're just proud of yourself for finally doing that. You can say you're grateful for those things, because you are. It's great to differentiate the types of things you're grateful for. It's so great. It's so good for you. Please do it. I love y'all. Okay. So please do this. So, that is the show for today. My first segment ran pretty long, so these last 2 had to be shorter. But yeah, I just had to come in and say, like, I know I was going to say the other thing. So next week we'll talk more about switchiness in the way I originally meant to, which is about, a little bit more about the brain, but then also like how you move in the world. So if you're really into control or power or other types of dynamics, how you might change in those dynamics depending on the situation you're in, those types of things. So join us next week when we continue that. Thank you for tuning in. Please tune in every Tuesday at midnight, which is technically Monday night, but Tuesday morning. And connect with me on wdrbmedia.com. Click on the radio shows tab. Also, if you want free advertising or to be on the show, please email me at pleasuremoodyjoy@gmail.com, or check out my Instagram or that number I said earlier, 336-303-8877. And you've been listening to Pleasure Moody Joy. I am your host, Faye Goddess, on WDRB Media, the voice of the community, for double the information and inspiration. So until next week, continue to be blessed, because I love you, I love me, I love us, I love we. I will see you soon. Bye.
I could blame it on the physical. I could blame it on your lips, your touch, your kiss, real traditional. But your love's too original. You were anything but conventional. Baby, did you know that from the moment we fell in and knew we couldn't fall back, knew I'd always crawl back. 'Cause baby, it's the everything for me, for me, for me. Baby, it's the everything for me, for me, oh, for me. 'Cause baby, it's the everything, no trying. You'll be shining, my silver lining. 'Cause baby, it's the everything for me, for me, yeah, oh, for me. Love the way you teach me, love the way you listen. You know all my details, you
so damn attentive. You got my attention, babe. Can't forget to mention, babe, I'ma keep you lifted. You so fucking gifted. And how many girls out in the world could say that they had it? And how many bitches that became your missus can maintain a status? That was before me, it's childish. You done what you wildin', now you can be wild with me. Run that mile with me, catch some flights out with me. Oh, I met your energy, match your flat perfectly. Lips talk intensively, want you extensively. I know you was made for me, think you was made with me. Shit feel like destiny. Cause baby, it's the everything for me. For me, oh, for me. This is such a different thing for me. For me, oh, for me. Baby, it's the everything, no trying. You'll be shining, my silver lining. Cause baby, it's the everything for me. Oh, for me. Everything, everything, everything. 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 Everything, everything, everything.
I know my enemy pray on me, so pray for me. Tick, tick, wait on it. I'm keeping down my body count. I'm finessing like a trap bounce, yeah. Cause every day above ground is a blessing. I done leveled up now, view panoramic. None of my fears can't go where I'm headed. Had to cut them loose, now blues break a limit, yeah. I'm about to blood on the sinner. The rain it down to go mutumbo. No, sinner. You condemn my life. Cause when we walk up in the club, I need them sirens going off. Then we can look up in the sky. The tears we cry, let us know that we alive, yeah. It give me goosebumps every time I throw up my diamond. Together we big time, and don't make me have to remind ya. I got my cup up to the heavens. Another night I won't remember. I promise this my move forever. Promise this my move forever, ever. Presents dancing on the bezel. This kind of feeling unforgettable. Promise this my move forever. Promise this my move forever, forever and ever.
You heard that?
Forever and ever.
That's the sound of the price going up.
Forever and ever, and never ever at the Saxon, Madiba Suite. Like Mandela, bumping fella on the Puma jet. Like we from Lagos, Mansa Musa reincarnated. We on our levels, that's a billion, 1,000 million. First one to see a B out these housing buildings. I be feeling like Prince in 84, Mike in 79, Biggie in 97, 94, Nas, Ali, Kumbaya. No Kumbaya, just give me the sommelier. I'm on Latage, helmet when I jet ski. You know the vibes hit my head, forget I'm me. Oh my God, without the God and the XY, I'm afraid the whole game will be colonized. The marathon will be televised for NRP. The true kings don't die, we multiply. Peace.
I'm so unbothered. Y'all be so pressed while I'm raising daughters, sons of empires. Y'all make me chuckle, stay in your struggle. Crystal blue water, pina colada in. You stay Ramada in. My baby father, bloodline Rwanda. Why would you try me? Why would you bother? I am Beyoncé, Giselle knows Carter. I am the Nala, sister Naruba, Oshun Queen Sheba. I am the mother, Hunk on my gold chain. Ice on my whole chain. I be like soul food. I am a whole mood. When we walk up in the club, I need the sirens going off, and we can look up to the sky. The tears we cry let us know that we alive, yeah. I give them goosebumps every time I throw up my diamond. Together we big time, and the children are a reminder. I got my cup up to the